The DieselGate Volkswagen cars are probably the best daily driver commuter cars you can buy. In this video, I'll be going over what I'd be looking for from a Mk6 Golf or Jetta Sportwagon. Important to note, the Jetta Sportwagen was only called a Jetta in North America. This chassis is a Golf through and through, despite what the badge on the back might say. I've had this 2011 Golf 2-door 6-speed for about 4 years and 50,000 miles. At the time of purchasing this car, I was driving over 2 hours a day for work. Nowadays I work from home, but this is my forever car. I did a lot of research when purchasing it and have been doing nearly all of the work at home. I get over 50 miles per gallon, I can still have fun driving it, and it's super comfortable for those long road trips while you get over 700 miles out of a tank. Something to note is that the EPA estimated MPG figures on these cars aren't something you should really be looking at. Because of the defeat solution VW used, the tested cars actually gave a lower MPG than most people get out of these cars. Plenty of people see above 50 miles per gallon on the highway and above 40 in city. One of the first things to look at when buying one of these is checking if the TDI extended warranty is still available on it. VWDieselinfo.com is a website where you can put in a TDI's VIN and find out what date and mileage the extended warranty will end. You can also use plate to VIN to get the VIN number if the seller doesn't provide that info. The extended warranty covers the fuel pumps, exhaust components, turbo, injectors, various sensors, glow plugs, and probably some other items that I'm forgetting about. The next thing to look for is service history. You want to verify that the timing belt has been done in the last 100,000 miles. The timing belt interval on these motors is 120,000. If it's almost due, be sure to use that as a negotiation point with the seller. It costs anywhere from $1,000 to almost $1,600 for it to be done at a shop, or about $300 in a weekend to DIY at home. If the timing belt does fail, there's a good chance you'll be looking at a replacement head for the motor on top of the timing belt job. For the automatic DSG transmissions, you'll want to see a service history of the fluid and filter being done every 50 or 40,000 miles. The manual transmissions don't need regular servicing, but it doesn't hurt. It's something the previous owner of my car did, and I keep up with it as well, doing it every 60,000 miles. It is important to note that the manual will provide better fuel economy because it has taller gears than the DSG. The fuel filter should be replaced at least every 40,000 miles, though some opt to do it with every oil change. The reason for this is that the high pressure fuel pump can be internally damaged if it doesn't have proper lubrication. Due to the poor diesel fuel quality in the United States, a lot of owners opt to use a fuel additive like Power Service Diesel Clean and or replace a fuel filter more often than VW's service schedule would suggest. Make sure that the owner or shop has been using the correct oil. VW 507 spec is the only thing that these cars should have in order to keep the emission system from failing. Common failures on these cars are mostly related to the emission system. If the car is out of warranty, the cost-effective option is a tune and delete. The EGR and DPF are expensive components and time-consuming to replace. When it comes to tuning and deleting these cars, it's always going to be the first recommendation for new owners, assuming your warranty is up and you don't live in a state with vehicle inspections. It is all around a great option for these cars. Not only will you have a better driving car with better MPG, it will also reduce wear and tear on other components of the motor. I could make a whole separate video on the topic, but I feel like modifications of this kind are more of a personal choice. The TDI Club forum is a great place to start looking if you're interested in that. The swirl flat motor is a common failure on these cars, resulting in trouble code P2015. There are kits to permanently fix the problem by replacing the common culprit with a metal piece, but this is another item that can be tuned out and hardware deleted if that's the route you'd like to take. As far as Mk6 items that aren't related to the TDI specifically, you'll want to look out for rust. Check the fenders, around the third brake light, around the logo on the hatch, and on the rockers. Luckily, VW does have a 12-year rust warranty, so if you find something, as long as there aren't signs of other damage, like a dent in that area for example, it's something that VW should cover and fix for free. Headliner sag. This is something that I've had difficulty pinning down on these cars. My 2011 has suddenly got a lot of headliner sag, my buddy's 2011 Sportwagon doesn't have any, and my girlfriend's 2008 Rabbit is just starting to show signs of it. I'm not sure if it's mainly based off of climate, parking outside versus in a garage, but it's common and typically starts around the overhead light or sunroof control area. Speaking of sunroofs, if the vehicle you are looking at has one, verify it works and that there's no wet spots on the carpets. If you buy one with a sunroof, especially a Sportwagon with the panoramic one, use it often. A common failure of these sunroofs is the drains. When they fail, it can lead to water getting into the floors and sometimes into electrical components in the body wiring harness. From what I've seen, using the sunroof instead of leaving it closed is good for the sunroof motor, guides, and drains. On manual cars, the dual mass flywheel, sometimes on its own, sometimes when abused, will eventually chatter. This will be noticeable only when the car is in neutral and the clutch pedal is released. When replacing the clutch and flywheel, some opt to put in a single mass flywheel, though that is a separate topic of discussion. The better solution from what I've seen is to put in a stronger dual mass flywheel and clutch. While it might sound like these cars require a lot of attention, as long as you keep up with the maintenance, which really isn't that expensive or time consuming, they're incredibly economical. I've had almost 50,000 miles in 4 years of my daily driver never letting me down, all while comfortable, cheap, and still fun.